Right, good morning everybody and welcome back to the garden room project here. So today what I'm doing, I'm creating this skirt, so the extension of the stud work leading down to ground level. So this point here is the lowest section of the build. The highest point is down the other end, but you've always got to work off your lowest point. So this point here has always been what's called our datum line, our reference line to go off everything when you're measuring everything out, okay? So what I've allowed for is because the cladding that we're going to be using, it can go as low as we possibly can. But what I want is an airflow going up around the back of the cladding, but also to be able to get like a fly net underneath to stop any insects and things like that getting up and around the back of the cladding. So what I've set it to is 2 inches off the floor, but if you actually go down to the ground there, it's actually 75 millimeters, so it's 3 inches technically off of the floor. And because we know the whole base is dead level, I've made all these studs exactly the same size. So what I've got is 2x2s here, okay, so 45 by 45. So you squeeze those two up and then you measure how much that is 90 millimeters, and I've got to make it up to 280. Okay, so 80 off of 280 is 190. Okay guys, so all these studs here are just 190, and what I've done, I've just put a series of them in there for now, just so I can squeeze it up and then fix down through the sole plate here and into this, but also going back up through, so you're pinching it not only from the top but you're pinching it from the bottom. Okay, so, and how I cut all these studs, I simply just set up a stop on the saw. So I've cut all these here, like cut a whole bunch of them, and all I did is once I cut one, so 190, then all I did, I just sat my saw down, pinched the little locking knot off there, pushed it up against the blade, like so, and then just set up a stop here and clamped it there, alright, down here. And then you can just cut all of your studs, noggins, whatever you're cutting. If you're doing repeatable cuts, you can even use it for beading, even if you're cutting your roof rafters and all that sort of stuff. As long as you've got it set to the right pitch, you can cut it all. It works exactly the same. Okay, so all I've done is just done that, and I've just done a whole bunch of repeat cuts, measured them, marked up where the ground screws are, because what I didn't want is for any studs, okay, to hit a ground screw. So the one that sticks out the most is this one here, okay, which is roughly about 50 millimeters. So by the time that goes on there, look, it misses the ground screw. Okay, which is what we want. All right, so after that there's going to be a metal mesh, which I'm probably going to put up to about here somewhere, going all the way down, and it's going to stop at the bottom here, or I might even just dress it right down to the floor, just to help stop any rodents and all that sort of stuff getting in there. You're never going to stop all of them, but it's just going to help deter them away from the build. All right guys, so like I said, I've just got to go all the way around the perimeter now, and then put in any more studs where I need to pick up for OSB board. And then after that, it's putting the OSB board on the face of all the stud work, ever externally, not internally. Then after that, it's to pitch the roof on, just get it all watertight, and then start filling with all the PIR on the inside. Okay, and then once that's done, it's putting all the flooring down finally, and then we've got something to work off of, which will be good. And then it's all the internal studs. Yeah, so got a bit more to do, but it's getting there, which is good. I've got the length of the finished section of that skirt all down here set up. I've marked out where the ground screw is, so we're not going to hit any noggins. Noggins won't hit the ground screw, which is good. So I'm just going to put a series of studs in there, mark them up, Whatever. It's basically just a miniature stud wall. So just marked out all the little studs are going. GS, that represents ground screw, so no studs in there. And I just bring out the studs out here. So how many do we need? We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So bring out 8 studs out here and just fix it in there. Just take it over to there, clamp it up, fix it off. Make sure you get the right orientation right, where the ground screw's going. Just stick it in there like that. Hold it up. Clamp it on. And fix it off. Simple. Today we're fitting the OSB board, which is the structural panelling, which is going to go on the front of the garden room. So what we got, guys, is the panelling on the OSB board going on now. This is an 18mm thick board, and all it's doing, it's not only giving me a fixing point for all the battens to go on prior to the cladding going on, it's also helping to tie everything together to keep it all nice and rigid. So you can see I've got some of the boards on now. I've just cut the heads for the doorway and this opening here. You can see on this joint here, I've got a parallel gap going all the way down through there. And that's what you've got to have when you fit this stuff, guys, because if it gets wet, there's any shrinking or growing, you've got to allow for that. So I've allowed for 1/4 of an inch there. So every single joint is going to be a 1/4 of an inch gap. Up there, there's one, and there'll be one down here and one down here. And also what I've had to do this morning is just to fill in the corners, okay, with the insulation board, because if I come around the corner here, you can see that I've got a double in here, and I've got them all on every single corner. Because if you don't fill that in and then you put the OSB on there, you'll create a cold spot. So just trying to avoid any cold spots anywhere throughout the whole of the build. So got everything set up down over here with all the boards here, and then all I'm doing, I'm just setting it all up on a rail, cutting the sheets. I'm doing the most difficult part of the front elevation because it's got all the windows and stuff like that in there. But just here, got my rail saw set up, just cutting the boards to size, because the actual stud work itself, I've set them out for 400mm centres rather than to the imperial size, which is, in this case, these are 1220 by 2440. Okay. Right, I got these 2 bits cut. I'm just going to go up there and fit them now. Get some screws, the right sized ones. go along and get one cut. .872, 475. That's for the stud. So 475, 872. So just getting the rail lined up on the pencil lines. So it cuts it to where I want. Now it's just a matter of cutting it. It makes you think when you should go cordless, getting tangled up in cords all the time. There you go, that represents the stud. I'll just take this one down there, and then I'll show you how I fit the wider boards into position. Like I said, it's just me and my Todd, so I'll show you. Right, I'm just going to show you how I get these boards up there and how easy it is to do it all by yourself if you wanted to. So we know the board is 2 440, so just measure down 2 440, the same to where the other board is going to go. Two 440. Get a piece of batten or anything which is slightly wider than the board itself. And simply put a screw in it. And there. Then just lift it up. Make sure it's the right way round. Yep. Sit up there like that. Get your corners all perfect. Just get a couple of nails. If I can break them apart. That's it. Right. Now just put a couple in on the join. Just tap them, not so they go home, just so they're just out the surface. Okay, so when you come to put on your next board, you can just slide it up against that and it'll be absolutely perfect. So I've just got to go cut another one and I'll go and fit it. All right, that's it, as simple as that. That's just how easy the boarding is. As long as, like I've said before in all my other videos, as long as everything is set out perfectly square, perfectly parallel, perfectly plumb, everything will work for you when you're cutting all your sheeting. So just take some time over it and get it right.